Live. Oh yeah, that's the whole point. Right. Come on, come on, come on. Catch up so I can, do the thing. Come on, live feed, catch up so I can. There we go. I can pause it so I don't have the horrible echo effect. Right, folks. Steve, good evening. Welcome to episode 101 of Sunday Night Live. We know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world at this point in time, folks, and we're going to do as we normally do each week, and that is simply get you to take your mind off of the events of the current events going on in the world, and just have some fun for the next few hours. And I was just saying to Raiden and Lids just now before we went off the air, it's a similar rationale to what the WWE is doing. It's like there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world, but the show will go on. Granted, this week's SmackDown was very different to what we've seen before, but it's in a similar to what they did with the first SmackDown show after 9/11 in 2001. It was just to get people to take their minds off of what was going on in the world, and because entertainment is not just there just to bring in ratings and just to bring in some financial incentives for the company, because that's what they are there to do as well. But entertainment is a necessity to just take your mind off of what's going on. And I feel like I didn't see the whole 2 hours of SmackDown this week, but just to perform at the Performance Center to nobody in the audience, but just to keep the story and momentum going, I think that was the right thing to do. Because, when you look around and, all you see in the news, whether it's in print, online, or on news stations, is coronavirus in one article and then it's in another article. You get to a point where, no pun intended, you get sick of hearing about it. So you want something that's just going to take you from reality, and then you're in a different world where Raiden is the Red Ranger, and all of a sudden Lydia is Catwoman in the Megazord pilot room, and you're just like, why are you here? Because
that's like that raises too many questions.
Like the Red Ranger and the Catwoman coming soon to a fictional theater near you, directed by Kaiju.
Yeah.
But it's what we're here to do. I know some people. I know there are some people listening in locally that listen to what I do with this, and I know there's some people have been a little bit concerned with regards to my situation. I can assure you, and until further notice, all I've got is a cold. I know I've had a cough coming up here and there, but I've had this cold for about the better part of 4 weeks. And let's just say if I did have this thing, I would be laid up in bed like I was 2 years ago with the Aussie flu. I had that, folks, and I felt like I got knocked out by Mike Tyson. And for context, Mike Tyson in his prime. Mike Tyson today, different story.
Have you seen the hit over? He can still hit people.
Yeah, but he probably doesn't hit with quite the same punch as he probably did with Evander Holyfield, and even then, he probably did a little something to get himself out of that fight.
Good point.
Yeah,
nah. Let's talk about that ear blade, shall we?
Well, I knew he was looking for a quick snack, but not in that context.
To be fair, I actually was in the not in the room, but I was watching the fight with my family in the room, and all of a sudden Tyson goes for the ear. I'm like, what? They literally had to get every single kid out of the room. Just like, no, we're leaving. No, everybody go in the bed. No.
So, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit rough, but it's just because of a winter cold that's been going on. And like I say, if I had this thing, trust me, I wouldn't even be speaking right now, because if you've got flu, you're not doing any talking. I wouldn't have been able to laugh just then. So I appreciate everybody's concerned. Everyone's concerned, but as far as I'm aware, I'm just fine. It's just that you know how it is with winter colds, not flus, colds. They usually leave when they want to. And by that context, you get onto like 4th or 5th week and you're thinking, oh, for F's sake, But, I'm fine. I might feel like crap, but considering what I put into my system on a daily basis, that's kind of catching up with me. Well, I like my lattes, I like my sodas, I like my pizzas, and like Raiden, I like my cookie dough ice cream on occasion. Raiden, I've told you how many times before. Don't go bringing that into the podcast. People think you're doing stuff.
Hey man, when it comes to cookie and cookie dough, I can't help it.
Well, let's just put it this way: if we ever happen to go to a theme park and there's a cookie dough themed ride, I ain't getting on that ride with you, Raiden. Just saying.
Oh my god.
Duly noted.
It'd be like, I'll have what he's having.
No, let's not reenact the when Harry met Sally scene with regards to that.
Agreed.
I still find it amusing to this day when they did the parody of that with Kurt Angle and Christy Hemme, and at the end of the trailer, of all people, Linda McMahon goes, I'll have what she's having. I'm like, okay, Linda, no one wants to picture you doing that. Vince might do, but we don't.
No, and then they did like another parody of it where Kane and Daniel Bryan were going, yes! Yes! And then Mae Young goes out, it's like, I'll have what they're having. I'm like, oh, no.
No one, no, with all due respect to the late Mae Young, no one wanted to know what she was having. No.
Let's think of something pleasant, shall we?
Yeah. We are going to have one or two subjects on the virus, which I'm referring to as the convoy. And I'll tell you, and I'll give my explanation as to why I say that. Just like how Random got sick and tired of hearing about Trump, he referred to him as Troy, simply because all he could hear was Trump, 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 Trump. So he just referred to him as Troy, the Troyster, President Troy. And little funny story. I don't think I'll get in trouble for this. One of his friends was going up to a convention in Birmingham, and they happened to be like a couple of seats up from. He was either on a train ride or it was just in a restaurant, and they could overhear them saying to this kid, goes, why do you refer to Trump as President Troy? He goes, because that's what Random refers to him on his DeviantArt page. And he was having a moment where he's like, patting his hand on his chest, goes, that made me feel warm. So I don't refer to this thing as the coronavirus. I refer to it as the convoy, simply because I'm sick of hearing about it.
Right.
But there is it. Like I say, there is an article that I will go into, and it just shows how some corporations are actually showing a little bit of tact in this whole situation. And this article comes from TheVerge.com, and it simply states, Comcast and T-Mobile to suspend internet data caps for the next 60 days. Comcast and T-Mobile have announced suspensions of their internet data cap policies in response to the virus. Comcast says it will no longer charge overage fees, I think they mean overusage, for home internet customers that go over its broadband data caps, while T-Mobile says it's removing all data caps for its mobile customers. AT&T and Verizon have taken similar measures. During this extraordinary time, it is vital that as many Americans as possible stay connected to the internet for education, work, and personal health reasons. Comcast Cable CEO David Watson said in a statement, "Our employees also live and work in virtually every community we serve, and we all share the same belief that it's our company's responsibility to step up and help out." Earlier today, the Federal Communications Commission announced that it signed both Comcast and T-Mobile, as well as many other firms in the broadband and telecom industries, to keep its new Keep Americans Connected pledge. The pledge asks that companies not terminate service for residential or small business customers, waive any late fees incurred due to the economic effects of the virus, and open access to public Wi-Fi hotspots to any American who needs them. We'll get through this together. Here's how we're helping. Removing smartphone data caps for all customers, giving 20 gigabytes of added iMobile hotspot data, increasing data for schools in our Empowered program, making it free to call severely impacted countries. More info, T-Mobile at T-Mobile, March 13, 2020. It also asked these companies to suspend data caps due to the sharp spike in work from policies being implemented throughout the country to help reduce the spread of COVID-19, the illness caused by the novel coronavirus. After the FCC confirmed that Comcast and T-Mobile signed the pledge, both companies have come out and announced the steps they're taking to try and alleviate pressures on customers. In addition to suspending data caps for 60 days, Comcast says it will make its Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots free throughout the country, and it will not charge disconnect or late fees. Comcast yesterday announced it will increase the internet speed of its Ethernet Essentials tier, which is targeted towards low-income families. T-Mobile, which is also instituting these new policies for a 60-day period, says it's suspending data caps, giving customers 20 gigabytes of additional hotspot, tethering data, increasing the data allowance giving to schools and students who rely on its Empower program, and making it free to all countries severely impacted by the coronavirus. Well, all I can say to these two companies is good for you. That's, really the best way of handling this situation is, you're going to be quarantined for a while. So therefore, they're making it easier on people just to be able to stay connected in a similar way to what Discord is doing, by actually allowing more people to be in a Discord call service, so that, like if you're still studying school, college, or, if you're having to work from home and you have to be in a call situation, whether it be voice or video, you're able to still stay connected and at the same time not be overtly affected by this too much. So I say good on them. Raiden, your 2 cents.
At least someone's gaining sanity.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I gotta say from here, because you have no idea how much stupidity I had to hear with this stupid ass virus.
Mm-hmm.
Where, but yeah, like I said, at least some companies are gaining their sanity, so I got respect for that. How about just show results, good results, instead of just making people freak out every single chance of the way? So, gotta give respect to those companies for doing that. So, I hope to see more of that in the next couple of weeks when this thing dies.
Yep. Lids, your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, it's a good idea, and I do like that. Like, some companies are actually understanding that, like, that people need to keep in touch with their loved ones, and they can't be hindered by a lack of phone signal or Wi-Fi service or just anything in general. Because right now we are in a digital age, and this is what's basically making us survive this quote pandemic. That's my main concern. It's just also finding out, like, you see the worst of humanity and also you see the best of humanity in a sense. Because there's actually someone retweeted this, and it's just like the stupidest thing called the coronavirus challenge.
What?
I'm not joking, because there was a clip of some stupid girl licking a toilet seat. I'm not kidding.
3 simple words. I got nothing.
That's what I thought. I'm like, okay, fine. Let these stupid idiots get themselves sick, and like, let's thin out the herd, shall we?
Yeah.
Time to thin out the herd, because that's not
I ain't touching that.
I hope you don't. That's not very hygienic.
Oh, it's not. But the one thing about this virus that people need to understand, it's not a death sentence if you get it. Well, it's a death sentence for certain individuals who get it, but you can prevent yourself from getting sick. One thing, don't come in physical contact with people. Also, wash your damn hands.
Exactly.
It's not a simple complex concept. Wash your fucking hands. That's all there is to it, and that's what bothers me. But that people are just paranoid, buying toilet paper. Like, I literally...
I really didn't get that.
I went to the grocery store on Friday. I wasn't picking up toilet paper. Thank God, I probably would have gotten my eyes gouged out. I saw the entire toilet paper out. Not just toilet paper. Rolled up napkins. Entire aisle was barren. Nothing. Like, why? And worse is that people are selling hand sanitizer, bottles of it, toilet paper on Amazon, and Amazon's putting a stop to the whole like gouging thing.
Yeah,
it's like, because people have been price gouging hand sanitizer. I'm like, first of all, go to hell.
I'm glad you brought that up, because hand sanitizer keeps selling out in my town. I had to buy mine off of eBay for thrice the price. Because the only way I could actually have any hand sanitizer. Granted, I didn't help the situation, but needs must.
Yeah.
And also...
I don't mind that... Oh, sorry. I wanted to continue my point with what we were discussing, but go ahead.
Also, I'm glad you brought up the toilet paper situation. One of the local supermarkets where I live, they closed nearly 3 hours early because fights broke out for people trying to fight over toilet paper. I'm not joking.
Oh, I've seen videos. Don't worry.
Oh, I've seen videos too.
I
like that.
I mean, I get, you stock up a little extra on, say, water, cold and flu remedies, only because it's better than having nothing. You gotta have at least something. Pardon me. Something to work with, because, alright, this is a brand new virus, and they don't really know how to combat it, and they say, vaccines don't work. At least with cold and flu remedies, at least it will ease, I don't want to say the burden, but it will relieve the suffering a little bit, because provided you're reasonably healthy, with no underlying health issues, then it's more or less like, a really nasty cold and a flu mixed together, from what I've been hearing. So therefore, things like Lemsip, or the equivalency of what you have as a flu remedy in the States, it'll help starting to just basically get it to 86 out of here. And here's the thing that the media don't do. They go and tell you how many people are infected and who have died from it, but they don't tell you the massive numbers of people that are making full recoveries from it. But then again, mainstream media likes to profit from people's misery because misery sells.
Mm-hmm.
And also to the people that do that, for shame on you.
Amen.
I mean, there is probably a good chance at some stage that we'll all go down with it. And, like we've just said, if you're reasonably healthy, all you're going to have is just a couple of days laid up in bed. And for, some of us that, go to work for full time for a living, we'll sort of think, this sucks that I'm ill, but at the same time, I'm going to get a couple of guaranteed days off just so I can also rest at the same time. Because when I had the Aussie flu 2 years ago, I remember putting the phone down after, telling work I wasn't going to be in that day. It was about 7:34 in the morning. Told them I wasn't going to be in. Because if you've got the flu, don't go near the place, especially with food. I put my head down, thought no more of it, went back to sleep. Now, when I woke up, I thought I was waking up, say, around midday, probably 1. Because, when you're unwell, you tend to sleep more.
Mm-hmm.
When I woke up, it was 6:36 in the evening. That is how wiped out I was.
Jeez.
Because with the flu, it's a combination of a few things. It's either, one, you've just got the virus caught your immune system on an off day, or your immune system's on an off day, but you were also completely run down, like with, a couple of hard weeks at work and what have you, and it's just nature's way of saying, no. You're going to spend the next few days in bed because this is what you need. And unfortunately for me, I didn't just draw the short straw. I drew the entire factory of short straws. So, by all accounts, I wasn't going anywhere. And ironically, the day before I went to watch both of The Shape of Water and Black Panther. That's why both of those reviews were late. That particular year, because usually when I go to do movie reviews where I've got the spoiler and spoiler free, usually they're up within a couple of days. Because I was off my feet for a week, the reviews weren't out until about 2 weeks later. But if you've got flu, you ain't talking for a while. It's like, you're resting your vocal cords, dude. But it is what it is, and in doing all that, I've just realised I've over talked to the point of what you were trying to make originally, Lyd, so I will let you resume.
Okay, all right, thank you. But I think that it's good that some corporations are actually understanding that, like, this is a terrible situation. People need to keep in contact with their loved ones, or some cases with just people in general, because if this quarantine takes for as long as it's going to, I don't know how the quarantine is going to affect the states or not, but in certain countries are basically locked down. Nobody can leave their house. And if that's what's going to help, by all means, take the caps off at least for a little while until this either dies down or just becomes a non-issue.
Because I know Italy's on lockdown at the moment.
Oh God, yeah.
But what they're doing to help lighten the mood, they're just performing impromptu concerts from their balconies, and I've seen a few clips of them. It's actually quite uplifting. So, like, yeah, we know we're going for a crappy time, but we're going to put a smile on your face, and, that's important. It's in a similar thing, as I mentioned earlier, Discord are doing a similar thing where they're actually increasing the capacity of people to be available in video and other type of conference calls to where, they know some people have to work from home, and they're making it easier for people. And I know, companies like Comcast have gotten a little bit of flack in recent years, where particularly when the net neutrality thing was back in the public discussion, because they were in favor of only favoring major corporations for access to faster internet lanes. But to see them do this, Sean Retcher's just saying it exactly right there. This will give Comcast and T-Mobile good PR. Absolutely right.
Yeah, well.
But,
just maybe they'll get other companies to just calm down, because Lord knows this thing has fucked over when it comes to wrestling. Because oh God.
Oh God,
I have been so stir crazy. Just like, not live wrestling. Like, it started with New Japan just basically canceling their New Japan Cup, and with Mania. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. I can care less about Mania. I mean, I feel like it has the most lackluster build I've ever seen, aside from Drew McIntyre's just or a badassery. But yeah, I can care less about that. But the one thing that will hurt if it gets canceled is WrestleMania weekend, and I look forward to that the most. WrestleMania nowadays, so that's just been just a scary situation.
I think if we're looking at things from a realistic and logical perspective, I think once we actually get around to WrestleMania weekend, by that point the temperature will have warmed up a little bit in the Northern Hemisphere. And what do these things respond to best? Heat.
Cold weather. Yeah, they respond well to heat, yeah.
So I think realistically, by the time we do get to that weekend, because we know that the Major League Soccer is suspended for the next 30 days alone, and the NBA has suspended their season for an indefinite amount of time. The Premier League has suspended all games until April 3.
The XFL actually suspended some of the entire season too. I'm like,
damn.
Ew.
I think, like I say, by the time it gets to April, May, when most people have built up an immunity to this thing, and we see around that time where things have warmed up and people start going outside more and not be breathing in other people's air, I think that's when we'll start to see a turning point. Because, and you don't need to be a scientist or a doctor. I mean, it's just basic stuff. In the same context with, physical injuries, if you've got like bruises or muscle strains, why do they always advise that you do things like put heat, we call it deep heat over here. Over for you guys, you call it Bengay. Why do injuries respond well to heat? Because they just do. Because it's the body's way of causing a lot of white and red blood cells to go to the damaged areas and start heating it up. And also because you're also kind of sweating it out of your system as well. So, although, funny little story, I remember one of my buddies I used to work with back in the day, we referred to him as the Pat Man. One time he thought it would be funny, he and a friend decided to squirt a whole tube of deep heat into someone's boxer shorts. Oh!
Oh, no. Why?
The guy who it happened to, he probably laughs about it now, but at the time he's just like, I wanted to have heat, but not like that. No. Steve, not DP, deep heat. You know, the heat warming cream that you use for injuries and muscle strains, or, you know, for when you get frozen shoulders, that type of thing. Yeah. You know, we've given our thoughts on Comcast and T-Mobile, and we're also playing, still on the subject of this virus, but this now concerns WrestleMania, as Raiden just brought up. And this is a little something JR has had to say on the matter. Jim Ross believes WWE won't cancel WrestleMania 36 despite the coronavirus pandemic. As the speculation over whether or not WrestleMania 36 gets cancelled continues to swirl around the internet, wrestlers and wrestling personalities from all over are giving their 2 cents on what they think should and will happen. Some wrestlers, including WWE Hall of Famer Lydia, have pushed for the show to be cancelled for the sake of the health of the fans in attendance. But fellow Hall of Famer and AEW commentator Jim Ross believes that there's no way WWE cancels it, even as every major sports league closes its doors for the foreseeable future. I don't think it'll get cancelled, Ross said on a recent episode of the Grilling JR podcast. It would be a shocker. It would be a huge loss for not only the WWE financially, but also for fans that are planning on going and making it part of an annual excursion or their first WrestleMania ever. WrestleMania is a major event, and that's an understatement, obviously, but it's a major event from the standpoint that many other companies use WrestleMania as a source of creating new revenue. It could be detrimental to a lot of companies, but knowing the wrestling mantra as I do, I don't think it's going to be cancelled. Both Raw and SmackDown have already been moved from their respective scheduled arenas to the WWE Performance Center in Orlando. As for Mania, scheduled for April 5, Tampa City officials said that this week they'll give WWE until this coming Thursday to cancel, postpone, reschedule, before they're forced to make a decision. We know that right now WrestleMania is out about 3 weeks, and we came to the conclusion that right now we don't want to pull the plug, Hillsborough County District Commissioner Les Miller said. However, we wanted to give it at least a week to see what was going to happen, if the WWE was going to do anything at all, and if that doesn't, and at that point I would suggest we do bring this body back together in an emergency meeting to discuss what we do at that point in time. WWE then put out a statement of its own. While we remain committed to hosting WrestleMania at Raymond James Stadium on Sunday, April 5, we are putting contingency plans in place in the event that it is cancelled by government officials, civil authorities, and/or local venues. The statement read, "The health and safety of our fans, performers, and employees are our top priorities, and we are monitoring the situation closely with our partners and government officials in Tampa Bay." That's a lot to take in. I think they will have to make a decision. This is where I'm kind of at odds. I think it would probably be... how to do this? It would probably be in a best interest if they kind of did a way whereby they meet people halfway. They don't go to the venue, where Raymond James Stadium is probably 50 to 60, 70,000, specifically for a wrestling event. But at the same time, I think they'll do what they're currently doing and probably move WrestleMania into the Performance Center. Now, on the one hand, yes, that will probably be WWE's lowest WrestleMania attendance ever, but it's one way whereby they'll still be able to host the event and still be able to put on a show of a lifetime. You're just not going to have the atmosphere that you would get with the open door stadium like that, because there's too many variables and unknown possibilities of what could happen. I mean, all it takes is one person that's infected with this virus to go and infect a whole stadium, because it'll just jump from one person from one to the next. So I don't think it'll cancel the event. I think they'll simply move it to a close quarters situation where they know that they'll have full control of what they're looking to do, and at the same time, the audience that are watching it either on pay-per-view or on the WWE Network still get to see the show that they wanted to see. The only thing is, it's not going to have the atmosphere, but I think the loss of the atmosphere is a small price to pay so that fans, performers, employees, and the corporate partners that they work with to try and make this happen don't get infected any further with this. I think that's probably what they'll do. You know, if the decision was left up to me, that is how I would play it. I would just take the artistic and creative perspective and do it that way. And if they really needed people to come into the performance center to fill up the arenas, why not do it with, you know, the backstage staff and various others in there, just to give it some kind of atmosphere? Just, you know, bring in the NXT rookies. You know, bring people in there that are not infected, and bring it in just so that you can have said atmosphere. Yes, it's not going to be something like we saw with WrestleMania 32's audience, especially with the way those people went crazy when Stone Cold came down along with Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley. But they'll still get to have WrestleMania, and like JR said, I don't think they'll cancel it. I think it'll be reworked, but the show will go on. And, you know, because Vince is Vince, he won't cancel it. Raiden, do you agree with JR's assessment with this?
Yeah, most definitely, especially when you mentioned Vince. Like, Vince is a stubborn bastard. He ain't gonna cancel for nothing.
Nope.
Nothing. Virus or not. Like, Mania, in his mind, is still going to go on. Like, he's the type... I'm not the biggest fan of his nowadays, but I do admire his moxies that he doesn't give up, you know, especially when it comes to deliver a show. Good or bad. Mostly bad. But I'm not here to talk about that. But, yeah, it's a tough situation, but, you know, Vince will never back down.
No.
I mean, that's the type of guy he is. Performance Center, that's going to be a big ass sacrifice, no doubt. But, you know, Mania still goes on. Mania weekend still goes on. So as long as that happens, let's go with me nonetheless. I may not care, but a lot of people will. So yeah, I definitely agree with Testament. I feel like Mania will not be canceled. Like a lot of people say, cancel it, but you don't know Vince.
No.
You don't know how crazy the dude is. Mm-hmm. He will do whatever it takes to deliver Mania. That's a well-known fact. So, yeah, Mania is not going to be canceled for nobody. That's all I got to say.
Lids, your 2 cents.
I mean, I kind of agree. He's as old as he is. Vince is a stubborn bastard, and he is not gonna cancel, even though it puts a lot of people at risk. And he might not even get the choice if because I've heard that if they try to put on the show, Tampa's just going to pull the plug because they're worried about the safety of the general public, of their city in general, and which I agree with. You can't expose that many people, especially considering the fact how many people fly from all over the world to go see this show.
That's gonna be a massive waste.
Yeah.
And considering that the US government has put a ban on all air travel coming into the US, and even the UK has been added. I mean, there's a 30-day ban currently, but there's always that possibility it could extend beyond that, and Mania's not in 30 days. Mania's probably 18 to 19 days at best.
Yeah, at this point, it's like I feel either doing it at the performance center or doing it somewhere where it's like you're safe and you could fill a crowd. You just don't have to have them. You could fill them with employees. You could fill them with other people. Just don't risk the health of the public by putting on a show. But I know that's not going to happen because Vince is Vince. And the only reason the XFL probably got canceled for the season was because he didn't have a deciding vote. He had one deciding vote, but he was probably outvoted. And that's, again, he has to think about the health of the public, but he's not going to do that. Stubborn old man got to be a stubborn old man.
But see, here's the thing. If he does go ahead with that, and there are people that come into this thing that have the virus, does he really want that many possible infections on his conscience? Because if that were me, I'd be like, oh no, I'm not doing this.
Absolutely not. And plus the fact that, how old is Vince?
He is
70-something years old.
75 this August.
And, whoa. And what kind of people does this virus kill?
Mostly people.
The elderly.
Yeah. Very
his own
distinguished folk.
before he decides to put on the show. Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that 30-day travel ban gets lifted somehow. Like, there's no way it's going to last for 30 days. That's the way I see it.
Well, I think at this stage it's just a case of let's just wait and see.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And like I say,
I also heard, and off topic, I did hear Fast. I forgot 7, 8, 9. Whatever number.
Fast 9.
That's 9. That's getting delayed until April 2021.
Oh God, that's a pushback.
It's a hell of a, because that was originally going to be out this May.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Shit. 20. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
That is a pushback. Well, and I do respect that, but just yikes. And from what I've heard, Disney Plus actually did something good where they put Frozen 2 on their lineup. I'm like, wow. Okay. Good for you. Good job. Because you know for a fact, adults are going to be stuck in the house with their kids who are not going to be able to go to school. What do? Put the kids in front of the TV and make them watch Frozen 2.
You also got to think, if people are going to be quarantined, it is going to put a heck of a strain on supermarkets that do, door-to-door deliveries, because if there are people that are not able to leave their homes, they're going to get to the point where they're just going to get swamped with requests that they're not really built to handle. And my local Domino's, they've been making a little bit of a tiny profit in the last few weeks because people are not able to get out of the house because they're in fear of infecting people. They're just like, fuck it, we'll just order us some pizza. But rather than sit it out and be miserable and think, oh, when can I get out? It's like, let's just get a Domino's. It'd be like, in Raiden's case, it'd be like, I can't get out. I'm gonna order me a sub and some cookie dough.
Yes.
Lydia, can I have some subs and cookie dough with some cheesy poo's ice cream?
No. None of that.
But what if I order it
No.
what if I order it and I flutter my eyes at you? Like, Oni, don't ever do that again.
Oh, no. I'll be like, no. None of that. No.
But Liz, what if I do in a sweet angelic voice?
Please don't patronize me.
I'm sorry, but angelic in Oni does not.
No, it does not.
That'd be like imagining like eyelashes from Babs Bunny from Tiny Toons.
Oh, no. Great, thank you. Now I got that image in my head. Good job.
Cutie Oni.
Oh. Someone who's watching this, don't draw fan out of that, please, for the love of God. No.
It's like that one guy from the Sonic shorts. Oh my gosh, there's a new Sonic character. I must draw porn of it.
Oh.
Rule 34, baby.
Yup.
Oh, there's so many levels of wrong, but it's partially amusing. No, Stephen, with regards to Cookie, referring to cookie dough, because Raiden likes cookie dough ice cream.
Yes, I do.
Which, if I ever go shopping with him the same I like Raiden, I'm going to pull you away from there now, because, like, no, cookie dough. It's like, Raiden, now. That'd be like, Lids trying to pull Oni away from, any vodka or whiskey. It's like, honey, we've discussed this. But whiskey! Yes, and you promised to behave.
No, you have not behaved yourself. Can I put this in the cart? No.
It's like, yeah.
I probably would give in. It's like, fine, 1 bottle of whiskey. 1.
Oh dear. Alright, we've covered WWE won't cancel 36. Even though, like I say, don't cancel it. Just put it to a venue whereby they can actually do the show that they're wanting to do, but they're doing it within close quarters so that it meets everybody halfway, which I think is the the best way. And it's similar to what Lids has just said, that for Disney Plus they've put Frozen 2 on the lineup because that is the best way, because people are going to be stuck indoors, they're not able to get out. Entertain them. That's the best way forward. Let's see. Onto something where I don't know how people would feel about this particular thing, considering this was not well received when it was originally released. Excuse me. It seems from what Sega Hardlight are teasing, we could be getting something more from Sonic Forces. Now, whether this is potential DLC or this could actually be a sequel, I wouldn't like to say at this point, considering how Forces was not well received in 2017, whereas Mania was beloved. I don't understand why making a sequel to something that was voted... I think this was voted as being worse than Sonic 360, which I didn't think was even possible. But, some people like to be surprised on occasion. Mm-hmm. The only things I could say positive about Forces is that it was the best performance from the voice cast ever. Because at that point, with the likes of Roger Craig Smith, Cindy Robinson, excuse me, and various others, they had settled so well into their roles, but, you know, they'd been doing it for like 5 to 6 years by that point. This is the thing they never allowed Jason Griffith to do, was give him more time. Because when you hear him when he first started with Sonic X, which, by the way, that show, particularly the 4Kids dub, that has not aged well. He goes and does Shadow the Hedgehog, then does Sonic. I know that people call it Sonic 06, but I don't like to put years to, you know, give something a nickname, because I feel like that's just unoriginal. It's why I refer to the second version of Knight Rider as Knight Rider SG and not Knight Rider 2008, because to me that's just lazy. That's why I don't refer to the original Ghostbusters as Ghostbusters 84. I call it, no, that's the real Ghostbusters movie, because the 2016 movie, that does not exist. You know, with Sonic 360, alright, he got better. Sonic Unleashed, I felt Griffith was at the point where he needed one more game, and he would have been there. But Sega at that stage liked to do that revolving door system of changing voice actors. Because I still think to this day Ryan Drummond was unfairly... He wasn't even dismissed. It's like, oh, we're changing you. Bye. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I heard the fan base was on Riot Patrol after that happened.
Yeah. But to be fair with Roger Craig Smith, he got it within the first go with Sonic Colors. I felt like it was channeling Jaleel White a little, and I actually tweeted at him, and he actually responded back saying, to paraphrase, Jaleel set the standard, and we're just, you know, trying to match up with what he established in the 90s. And I actually appreciated the fact that Roger took time to actually respond, which shows you, you know, the sort of fan relations these voice actors have when they go and take time like that. The only thing I'm going to say is it's not Roger's fault, particularly with the dialogue that Sonic had in Sonic and the Lost World, or most of the dialogue in Sonic Boom, but the douchebag, narcissistic Sonic has got to go. Because I felt like the movie nailed it.
Speaking of that, I finally watched it last week.
It's good, wasn't it?
Oh, most definitely. Oh yeah, I feel like I enjoyed a lot of it, and it painted Sonic in a different light, and that light is something we should see every like Sonic themed, you know, project. Calm, caring, a little cocky, but in his heart he does care. I like that.
Yeah, because I remember Jim Carrey saying in a recent interview that they respected the character. You know, they went to do their own thing, but they didn't stray from what the character was about. And a lot of people have said, particularly with the baseball scene, one commenter said, this movie managed to get Sonic done perfectly in one scene that Sega and any of the most recent animated series have not been able to do in 10 years. And I'm like, ooh, that had to hurt. But that baseball scene where he suddenly, you know, hits him that he's all alone, I was like, oh. Just where he says it's so depressed, I'm all alone. I'm like, oh man. And one where I actually heard a few people sighing, you know, with sadness, is when they look at his bucket list and Tom reads the one thing he hadn't crossed off. It says to make a real friend. I'm like, aww.
Yeah, that thing got me.
Well, considering he'd been living, in the shadows for all intents and purposes, he hadn't had any company for 10 years since he was about 3 or 4 because people are trying to work out what age Sonic was in this, and I think he is still a teenager, but it's more like he's in his very early teens, whereas dependent on which continuity you read and watch from, he's anywhere from 15 to 17. So to have him where he's got this youthful, energetic innocence about him to where he idolizes the Donut Lord. I'm glad that one's caught on so quick. Because he idolizes James Marsden's character to where he got such a huge buzz in high-fiving him. Although I do love James's delivery, where robotic after he goes, "Who the hell do you think you are?" He goes, "I'm the Donut Lord, you son of a bitch." I'm like, and as one of the
I wanted to ask you, how'd you feel of the scene where Sonic is in the bag thing?
I felt like the child abduction joke being left in there. I'm like, really? With all the things that have been going on in the last few years, I'm like, was that really appropriate to leave in there? I mean, could they have not just said, "Oh, I left my phone in my bag"? That's all. If he had said that, that would have made things so much easier. But he goes, "Oh, it's a kid, but it's not mine." I'm like, oh, it's like you just made that worse. But yeah, it's one thing to have the character redesigned, but to have that joke still in there, it's just like, the fuck is wrong with you? And also the gag of, where Robotnik goes, "Well, look what came from my egg sack," and I'm like, okay, Jim, you do know this is a PG movie, right? Because I was amazed that they actually got away with that, considering it's supposed to be family friendly, but. And as Sean's pointed out, according to IMDb, the Sonic movie has made over 300 million worldwide, which means he is a certified hit. Sequel is guaranteed now. All I'm going to say with regards to the sequel is, well, first and foremost, don't take anywhere near as long to get this thing to get here, considering how many years it's taken for the movie to get here. But do it in a way whereby you get the story as perfected as you did with this one. Simply because this is going to be bringing Tails in, do it in a way whereby it makes sense. And of course, people are saying, "Oh, they should bring Knuckles in, they should bring Shadow in." It's like, let's just worry about bringing Tails into the fold.
I say pay tribute just from the first 2 Sonic games. I think mid credits you see Knuckles emerging from the ground. That's something I would see, and I don't know. Don't bring Shadow just yet. Just save him for like a future installment. I say get the original enemies out first, like Metal Sonic.
Yeah.
And just keep things classic, and then I don't know. Studio want to do something modern, but takes the good things and not the bad things, like Sonic 06.
Yeah. And of course, WatchMojo.com put a video out after the movie went out and said, why the Sonic movie still doesn't, why Sonic 2006 is a terrible game. And I'm like, okay, hold up. It's 2020. People stopped giving a shit about that game about 12 to 13 years ago. Move on.
And somewhere an adorable one who's almost here with us will say, F that game, F that game, F that game.
Yep. Yeah, I know I keep saying this every time the subject's brought up, but I get it if you're doing a retrospective, you bring the game up and say, why you hated it so much, or if it's, say, a year after and you get it out of your system. But when there are people that still continuously bang on about it, it's just like, it's 2020. 2006 was 14 years ago. Move on. And of course, there are some YouTubers that won't shut the fuck up about it, i.e.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not saying, and for those listening, I'm not saying for context who person in question is, because I don't want to give person in question that time of day. Yeah. Steven says, can I just say no Amy? I'm only for bringing Amy in for the sequel. Hey, Win.
Hello.
I say for me, it depends. I mean, they already made Sonic a much more likable character. Why not Amy? I mean, shoot. I mean, she's gonna have her annoying tendencies, but at least with the direction they did with the movie itself, I feel like they're gonna make her more, just having someone as a companion instead of just a stalker, a full-blown stalker. That's all I gotta say.
I've just typed to Steven, who I said, who I'm not giving the time of day, and I'm just saying to him, don't type it out in the chat because I don't want to give this person the time of day. For context, when there's one particular YouTuber that has done multiple videos about why Sonic 06 is terrible. It's just like, it's 2020.
I remember who you're talking about. Plus, I kind of saw the message pop up on my phone, so
yeah,
that's all I got to say about that. Also, Navi agrees that he's an idiot, as you heard in the background.
Yeah.
Wow.
On a different subject, a second win. Has the virus actually reached your community yet, or is it nowhere near?
My part of the neighborhood, not that I know of. We do have quite a few stores in the county that are out of TP, though, but no known parts in Riverside County that I know of. We're just practicing more careful methods at work, like when we clean the tables to get ready for new guests, we sanitize not only the tables, but the back of the chairs in themselves, the caddies. And we make sure to wash our hands very frequently.
Yeah.
Which we do anyway, because when you work in that industry, you have to.
Yeah.
People now give a shit about washing their hands now. It's like that's what makes this whole thing. That's what makes this whole thing for me laugh out loud. It's like, not nasty. Not very nasty.
I mean, as Lid said, Amazon are putting a stop to the whole price gouging with regards to hand sanitizer and even toilet paper. I mean, I had to go on eBay just to get my hand sanitizer, but for 2 bottles I had to together it was thrice the price. Random had something to say about that, and folks, for context,
please type this out.
For context, these are the words of Random, not mine, so if you have a problem, go bother him. He said, and I quote, "There's a special place in hell for people like that." His words, not mine. I don't necessarily...
I didn't hear.
Hmm?
I didn't hear. Can you repeat that, please?
Right. He said with regards to with people price gouging like that, his words, quote, "There's a special place in hell for deserving people like that." Now, I don't necessarily agree with the choice of words, but I agree with the context. With people doing stuff like that, it's like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
You always have those opportunistic bottom feeders who try to profit off of people's pain, which, I'm not gonna lie, this might get me some heat, but your brother's not wrong.
Nope.
Man, let's be fair. When it comes to your brother, he does see the good in people, but in hindsight, his main pet peeve is just purging the word of all idiocracy of stupidity.
Yeah.
And I want to join them too, because they fucked up. Okay, I'm gonna go to the corner because I'm going to pop a blood vessel.
Yeah, because in doing so, they're endangering the lives of the elderly and other people who can't make it out so easily to get their supplies. Not to mention, I saw Ace Salieri's latest video. Poor guy couldn't get diapers for his son.
That's just wrong. That's
No comment.
That's
Like,
fucked
come
up.
on. I get people are scared, but they're blowing this way out of proportion. Though, at the same time, I partially blame the media because they exaggerate everything to sound worse than it is.
I mean,
it's like, if media was a person, I would just say, "Come, hey, media, come over here. I got something to say."
Yeah, because
acting stupid. All right, choke the living life.
Honey, dude, breathe, man.
I would take a page out of I would take a page out of Lydia's book a second and just say, "Shut up, Karen."
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, the disease is particularly detrimental to those with underlying health concerns, or if you're up in the years. But if you've got nothing wrong with you, health-wise, then, as I've said earlier, you're going to be rocked for a few days with the sensation of you're up in bed, just watching DVDs, just doing something, just to take away just to curb the monotony of the situation, and you're gonna feel like you're tumbling down the hill when all you're doing is being sat stationary, sat up in your bed, with Navi being cute. But all you're going to have happen is it's basically like a really, nasty cold or flu. Your body will adjust to it because the media will go and say in the UK, there are 11,000 affected with 21 people having died from this. Well, what they don't tell you is the amount of people recovered are well into the double figures and possibly hundreds.
Exactly. It annoys the crap out of me that the media just doesn't freaking just tell us the good news, but no, we must show bad news. We must have them scared.
Doom. We're all gonna die. Because here's the thing, there's spreading awareness, so people can kind of keep a level head while thinking, okay, I just need to be careful when I'm out, wash my hands, try not to touch my face. If I do, just wash my hands. Try, if I feel a little under the weather, stay home like a sane person and find something to do there, like binge watch your favorite show on Netflix or go through your video game backlog.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did the last time I had something similar to pneumonia. I pretty much played my Xbox 360's video game backlog, and I got to finish, throughout the time I was sick, I got to finish at least 4 games.
I mean, most people know for the last 4 weeks I've had an on and off cold, and all of a sudden it's decided to rear its ugly head. I even asked somebody at work, did I look okay? And they said, your complexion looks fine. Because, I think people mistake a cold for this particular virus. So like I said earlier, if I had this thing, I wouldn't even be doing this podcast right now. I'd be up in bed, probably with, a wet hand towel over my forehead, just probably watching like even the most mundane, boring movie just to take my mind off the whole thing. But you can all hear me talk. Am I stuttering? Am I slurring in any way?
Not really.
No, you sound like you normally do when we're on the air. If anything, another plus is even though there are some sporting events canceled and whatnot, and some events and places closed for the next at least 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks isn't a bad wait, but I digress.
That's true.
It said that there's actually a breakthrough in Saskatchewan's laboratories. Canada seems to have been able to isolate it, so maybe we'll get a vaccine sooner than later.
So what you're saying, we don't blame Canada anymore, right?
It was never really their fault, because at least their healthcare treats them well.
Yes.
And that's one thing I'm envious about you, MJ. Your healthcare doesn't suck, unlike ours.
It's annoying as hell.
Yeah. That is probably the only thing that I'm critical of how things are done in America, where if you get ill or if you get injured, you have to pay for it, whereas over here and in Canada, as you just highlighted, Win, the healthcare system's already paid through government taxes, so it's already paid for over here.
Yeah.
There are
you either. Sorry.
No,
I'll
no,
let
no,
you finish.
No.
Oh,
Ladies first.
I was gonna say, and the sucky part is, you either have to work through your pain or your ailment of choice, or chances are you're not going to be able to afford your rent, your mortgage, your electric bill. Sometimes you have to choose between seeing a doctor or eating.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Don't get me wrong. I love this country. It's my home. But at the same time, we have so many problems that can be fixed, but for some reason, no one wants to fix them.
I know.
We're not expecting everything for free, mind you, but at least a reasonable price where we don't have to choose between keeping a roof over our head or having a healthy body.
Yeah.
Or trying to find a part-time job, because in my case, it's annoying due to half of my mental health problems.
Raiden, if I lived close to you, I would put in a good word for you and try to help out.
Aww,
hey!
Thanks.
Navi, do not chew on the laptop cord!
Mother, I wanted to get connected.
Navi, do not make me get the spray bottle, young man. It's full of cold water.
Ooh. You okay?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay.
Again, I'm still recovering from a cold or a cough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to get through that too. Like, I don't know what it is. It's tonight, just been coughing a little bit, but luckily it isn't too serious. Also, for another thing, for people who hasn't had watching sports, I know it's hard. Yeah, might have to watch bowling. I know it's gonna suck, but hey, at least you got something. Also, do something else like cooking, like I did. Like I made chocolate chip cookies last week.
Chocolate.
Sadly, they're all gone. But luckily I'll make more this week. And they're triple chocolate, thank you.
Triple chocolate, even better.
Chocolate!
Did someone say chocolate?
Yeah, nope.
We love you, Oni.
Did someone say chocolate?
Right now, he's driving a truck.
Did someone say chocolate cookies with cookie dough cream?
No.
Damn you, MJ.
That sounds surprisingly delicious.
Oh, God. He's going to be listening to this later. I was like, damn it, dude, I hate you. And then I suddenly pop up on, FaceTime his phone. I love you too. Like, MJ, how the hell did you get to my phone? You're imagining things. Yes, you're imagining TNA. You're imagining TNA is actually good. No, I know I'm not dreaming.
No, I would say this. If you were able to find something, Raiden, you would probably be a shoo-in as a baker with all those pictures you took of your goodies.
I try.
I used to do Trekkie's just gone. Now let's ask Mr. Woodchuck. Are these cookies made from wood? The hell you going with, dude?
It's a Full House joke. Joe used to do a character with a puppet called Mr. Woodchuck, and
right.
and with the punchline with wood.
Okay, I'm with you now.
Now, if there's anyone that could be a voice actor, still it's him.
I used to do a lot of baking when my mother was going through chemotherapy in 2006, mainly because when there were, afternoons where I was off from work or I'd have days off, it was something to do, in between looking after her and being bored to tears watching, daytime TV. Good sweet Lord above.
You too.
I had, a library of DVDs that she could have looked from. She's like, no, I want to watch daytime TV, and I'm like, yeah, I would have put a DVD on because I've had to sit through daytime TV before, and I'm like, someone please gouge my eyes out. But I would do things like either bake cookies, bake a chocolate fudge cake, or sometimes even a lemon sponge. Again, it was just something to do. And unsurprisingly, Random Ham had one too many slices of the chocolate fudge cake on occasion. Just saying.
Oh. But it was good though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but
Oh God, it sounded like he probably made himself sick.
Well, no, one would argue he was already sick in the head, but that's a story for another time.
Oh my.
No, he'd probably admit to it. Yeah, because Raiden saw a bit of that last week when we streamed the reaction and review of Survivor Series 2013. Good lord, because he actually noticed me passed out on that before the time was up. But given how crappy that pay-per-view was, ugh. Dalton Trekkie's going, oh, sometime German time daytime TV isn't that bad. Beres Führers, a show where people bring antiques to a show trying to sell them. Oh yeah, we got something similar in the UK called Antiques Roadshow.
Pawn Stars here.
I've seen a little bit of that.
Sean goes, I can make a nice steamed treacle pudding, but I can never top Grandma's treacle pudding. They've always got something extra special. Trekkie says, oh, by the way, happy belated anniversary for the 100th episode. I was sick last week. Sorry I couldn't be there. It's cool, dude. Don't worry. Health comes first.
Comes first.
Yeah. Where's Kaiju tonight?
It's a good question. He's probably busy or something.
Maybe he's sleeping in?
Probably.
I'll just give him a quick message. Would also help if I spell, because I was almost spelled Johnning. It's like, that sounds like something else. Hey Kaiju, you joining us tonight? MJ, what the hell is this?
Or MJ, did you have a stroke?
Not that I know of. Like I say, hopefully we'll get a message. If we don't get a message within, say, the next few minutes, then we know that it's not happening. Because I did see from one message that he was on about 3:08 my time, but that might have been before he went to sleep his time. So who can say? If he shows up, he shows up. Only reason I say is in an attempt to lighten the mood for the listeners, there will be a premiere this evening. Because, you know, like what WWE did with SmackDown this week, the show must go on. And it's all about just helping people. Later, bro. It's all just about people, you know, having their minds taken off of the current situation, because entertainment is just as important as informing people. And I was saying to Raiden and Lids earlier, Wayne, that it's in a similar parallel to what the WWE did with the first SmackDown after 9/11 in 2001. They were the first live sporting event to get back on the road, because the whole point of it was just to get people to forget about what was going on in the world for a few hours. And even though there probably wasn't a script to SmackDown for that particular episode, it got people just to relax. And that's what they did with SmackDown this week. Alright, it was a very different SmackDown from what we've been used to, but they were able to meet people halfway, where they got people entertained, but without passing on the infection to anybody. And it's actually the first time John Cena's come into an arena where he has been booed out of the building.
And I mean, the crowd is just like Cena. They can't see them.
No. And, you know, that's actually a very good way of looking at it, Trekkie. He goes, to paraphrase Doug Walker, the review must go on. And he does apologize for bringing the guy in. But no. You know, I get where I get the apology, but that is actually very apropos. You know,
it's still relevant.
Yeah. And
I did hear he's reviewed both of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I haven't seen them yet.
You mean all three?
No, I haven't. I don't know if he's in 3 yet.
I know he's reviewed the 3rd movie, which he actually thought was good. The only thing I can say, and I've been very candid about this over the last 13 years, they did the arc of Peter Parker going darker and acting out of character. That was done to perfection. It was just the 3rd act that was just so rushed. What they should have done, the end of the 3rd movie is where you see the symbiote go onto Brock and then cut, and then you set up Spider-Man 4 would be Parker taking on Venom. And, you know, it didn't help matters that Sam Raimi's not a fan of Venom. He just wanted to do the arc with the black suit and with Sandman, but the studio pressured him into bringing Venom in. And it took about a good 11 to 12 years before we got the Venom movie, which we didn't know that we wanted. And my gosh, it was glorious.
Jump out the window. Ding!
Pussy.
Oh, yeah. I did have a
Looking back at that
contribution
movie,
for
it
tonight.
wasn't too bad.
It felt
I
like
do have.
It's just the villain was quite shit.
the Elon Musk light, as Wynn calls him.
Well, at least if there's a sequel, we're gonna get Carnage, so that'll be a better enemy.
Yeah, and it'll be Woody Harrelson as Carnage.
You get the.
You're asking for problems there.
He's gonna.
I mean,
Well,
he's gonna enjoy that way too much.
yeah, I see a triple-decker ham sandwich in our future.
Oh God, I sense he's gonna channel his character in Natural Born Killers with that because, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody feed him beforehand. He's gonna chew up the scenery.
Mm-hmm.
Worse than Anthony Hopkins.
Also, I did have some positive stuff to kind of brighten our hearts a bit. My contribution for tonight's show.
Ooh, that's...
Okay.
Influential kids TV executive Margaret Loesch will be subject to a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
She's very well known for having a big cartoons like and the animated Spider-Man, the animated series, the X-Men cartoons. Pretty much every cartoon in the 90s that was good.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole childhood was because of her.
Mm-hmm.
Mad
Nice.
respect. Okay. All right.
All right. Okay, Windows 10, could you not right now?
That reminded me, my regular laptop that I've used for a couple of years finally cracked out me, and I got the blue screen, so I'm using another one.
Damn.
So,
Oh
yeah,
no, it sucks.
So yeah, that's been a damper.
Margaret Loesch, one of the most influential children's TV executives of the 1980s and 1990s, will soon be subject of a feature-length documentary. Here are some details about Loesch and the film about her. After starting out in kids programming at NBC in 1975, Loesch went on to run Hanna-Barbera and Marvel Productions in the 1990s, and Fox Kids for much of the 1990s. More recently, she headed to the Hub Network, a TV channel jointly owned by Hasbro and Discovery Communications, which was subsequently rebranded as Discovery Family. Loesch is responsible for some of the best-known kids shows of the 1980s and 1990s, most of them animated. Notably, she commissioned many comic book adaptations for Fox, including the series X-Men, Batman, and Spider-Man. She helped launch the Power Rangers franchise outside of Japan. Thank you, Ms. Loesch.
Mm-hmm.
Her resume includes Animaniacs, Jim Henson's Muppet Babies, The Smurfs, and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. The film about her will be directed by Brian Volk Weiss, in parenthesis, The Toys That Made Us, The Movies That Made Us, and Brian Stillman, Plastic Galaxy, The Story of the Star Wars Toys, Eye of the Beholder, The Art of Dungeons and Dragons. Can I get an amen, Lids?
Amen.
Two veterans of pop culture documentaries. Volk Weiss's The Nacelle Company will produce the film, with Cisco Henson serving as executive producer. Founded in 2017, the company makes documentaries and TV shows with a range of partners including Netflix, HBO, Discovery, A&E Networks, Hulu, Amazon, and Viacom. In a 2007 interview with the website Blast from the Past, Loesch credits her stint at Fox with laying the groundwork for the recent boom in comic book movies. I think Fox Kids definitely had the impetus for the whole comic book revolution since we dramatically raised the whole awareness of Marvel characters. Distribution plans and broadcasters for the documentary have not been announced at this time. News of the documentary was first reported by Deadline.
Nice. Kudos to her.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Definitely have to check that out at some stage just to see how most of those was intricately set up, especially with bats.
And we got Power Rangers.
Well, I've not heard any response from Kaiju. We'll get round the table with that before we get onto another topic, because there's something particularly special I want to highlight this evening. But Raiden, thoughts on the Loesch movie?
This is the first time I've heard of her, and just hearing that revelation that she was kind of responsible for all our childhood in the 90s. Like, I give my full respect to her, and I might check out the movie because this is someone that basically shaped all of our childhoods with a lot of the shows that Win mentioned. So, hey, I'm mad respect to her. Glad she's getting her dues, and that's all I just do it.
Lids.
I gotta echo the same. It's kind of awesome that this woman is getting recognition that she deserves. Because, yeah, she's responsible for a lot of our childhoods and like our childhood love of animation and cartoons in general. So props to her, and I'm glad she's getting recognized for her contributions.
Any thoughts to add, Win?
Well, seeing as I contributed the link, I found it just so awesome I had to share it. And it kind of goes to show, guys, animation industry is not the sausage fest that it's always been perceived to be. This is proof of the pudding, and it's delicious.
All right. This may get a few interesting reactions. Kevin Smith reacts to rumor Johnny Depp is playing the Joker in the Batman movie.
What?
Production is well underway on Matt Reeves' The Batman, which apparently does not plan on stopping in the wake of the global pandemic of the COVID-19 coronavirus. The film is already stacked with villain characters, but unconfirmed rumors are circulating around the internet about another. The unverified rumor has gained traction online, though, as fans have latched onto the idea with fan art of what might look like already making its way online. Now, the Ultimate Batman Authority, Kevin Smith, has sounded off on the possibility of Johnny Depp eyed for the part. There's a big rumor going around that says that they've been talking to Johnny Depp about possibly playing the Joker in the Matt Reeves' The Batman film. Now, this is the first anyone's ever heard about the possibility of a Joker in the Batman movie on the heels of the Joker, which won Oscars and made over $1 billion, and Joaquin just locked that part down. But it looks like that this is an Oscar bait part. Who the fuck wouldn't want to play the Joker? Heath Ledger won an Oscar. Joaquin Phoenix won an Oscar. And of all the actors out there that could possibly take a roll of the dice, the Joker, Johnny Depp, is actually kinda effing perfect. Smith went on to downplay the truthiness of the rumor, unclear about where it came from, but said that it could be a very fun prospect for fans to see. You gotta admit, he'd be a fun man. Like all the parts he's played, he's kind of perfect for a take on the Joker. Though Depp as the Joker is unconfirmed and frankly a pipe dream, production on the film is ongoing with Robert Pattinson playing the titular hero. He'll be joined by Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle, Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, Paul Dano as the Riddler, Colin Farrell as the Penguin, Peter Sarsgaard as District Attorney Gil Coulson, John Turturro as Carmine Falcone, and Andy Serkis as Alfred. Provided there are no major delays, the film is set to hit theaters on June 25, 2021. Here's the thing. I can see so much fan art with people playing onto Depp as, what if Jack Sparrow cosplayed as the Joker?
The eccentric nature would work.
I'm the Joker. Savvy. Oh dear. I'm on board with the idea, but at the same time, I'm going to wait until something's confirmed, because as this just says, this is just pure rumor, and rumors are just that, rumors. But it'll be an interesting take on the character. Raiden, buy or sell?
I'm gonna go sell for now until we get confirmation. But Depp as Joker, that would be a great role for him, especially how he's played sets of characters. Of course, Jack Sparrow, Sweeney Todd, Mad Hatter. I mean, I feel like playing eccentric characters is his bread and butter. Oh yeah, I forgot it. Willy Wonka.
And let's not forget Edward
So,
Scissorhands.
of course, of course. So
And he
yeah,
was Grindelwald.
I forgot about that one. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna say so for now until we get some confirmation, but it wouldn't be too bad.
Let's.
I'm of two minds about it. I mean, Johnny Depp isn't a terrible actor, as has been clearly been proven. It's just his work as of late hasn't been exactly stellar, and whether or not he could pull off being the Joker. I mean, we used to think that Heath Ledger his performance as the Joker couldn't be topped, and then Joaquin Phoenix came along and said, "Nah, I got this." But now having the potential of Johnny Depp being the Joker, I don't know. It could work if he gives the role gravitas and doesn't he can chew up the scenery. Just don't chew up the scenery too much, because then you'll end up chewing up Robert Pattinson. Did I say that out loud? sorry. But yeah, I'm of two minds. It's like, for me, it's like wait and see. I need to have a formal opinion if this actually happens.
All right. When?
It could be interesting. I'm not gonna knock it until I try it. If it's confirmed to be true, then I'll wait till a trailer till I pass judgment, because Johnny Depp is a pretty phenomenal actor, and to be fair, in the roles he underperformed, they were either really bad writing or he was undergoing duress from a very toxic relationship. Fuck you, Amber Heard.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that out loud?
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I was distracted with something.
I think there was something in my ears.
But yeah, he's normally a pretty good actor. He did do quite well as Grindelwald when I saw Fantastic Beasts, which is a very recent film. And to see him get a bit more work his way after being treated unfairly, it would be great to see that amongst his repertoire, because he's been known to pull off hero, villain, anti-hero off quite well. And with a lot of people backing him and giving him support, I believe he can kind of find that mojo again. So this is the moment where the proof is in the pudding, but it's still on the boiler.
Fair enough. All right. On to next article. And unfortunately, we're back with the virus again. But
Okay.
this is actually relevant because this concerns Jurassic World 3. The park is closed as Jurassic World 3 shoot goes on temporary hiatus. Production has halted due to the coronavirus pandemic. At the moment, just about everybody except for Warner Brothers seems to be shutting down shop. Colin Trevorrow's final installment in the Jurassic World trilogy recently started production and will now take a bit of a breather as the world figures out what to do next. The coronavirus has started to spread at a more rapid rate throughout most of the world except for China, where it originated from. It appears that cases have started to go down there. Well, that's a good sign at the very least. In addition to Jurassic World Dominion, Universal Pictures is also stopping production on Flintstrong and the new Billy Eichner comedy produced by Judd Apatow. The studio has not revealed how long the delay will be, but with schools shutting down for 2 to 3 weeks, one can imagine that the studios will do the same. Universal released a statement, which you can read. Universal Pictures' live-action feature productions will ramp down and go on hiatus beginning this weekend. The studio continues to monitor the situation closely and will make a determination on when to restart production in the coming weeks. Jurassic World Dominion sees the return of Colin Trevorrow as director, along with trilogy stars Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Original Jurassic Park actors Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum are also appearing in the highly anticipated sequel. This is all exciting for fans of the franchise, though they might end up waiting a little bit longer for the final part when all is said and done. Universal has not said whether or not the production delays will push back any of the release dates for their upcoming projects. Universal Studios has also revealed that it will close down for the rest of the month due to the coronavirus pandemic. Disneyland and Disney World are officially closed as of today until April, which is unprecedented. Most states are banning events with more than 250 people in attendance, which means that almost all concerts have been cancelled or postponed too. Coachella and Stagecoach were supposed to take place next month, but will now attempt to start back up again in October if everything ends up running smoothly. Jurassic World Dominion is set to hit theaters in June 2021. For now, that release date will remain the same. Universal has no plans to move the date, but it could end up happening in the near future because of the coronavirus. For now, we'll just have to wait and see on what Colin Trevorrow and the team decide to do with the production. Additionally, we'll have to wait and see what the rest of the studios decide to do too. For now, it seems that Warner Bros. Is one of the only major studios carrying on production on their various projects. Deadline was the first to announce the Universal production suspension. Well, I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, on the one hand, I would like to see Jurassic World 3 keep with the, for now, proposed date of June 11, 2021, which would be the 28th anniversary of the original Jurassic Park movie. But at the same time, health comes first. So, I think, realistically, and this is something we've been talking about at length throughout most of the evening, Win, is I think once it gets into the slightly warmer months, where we start to see the temperatures rise up, and, ailments always respond best to heat, because it's just, basic biology. Things tend to improve when heat is introduced, because what do even injuries respond to? They respond to heat quite well. So, I'd say give it till about April 10 when they start back on production with these movies, and then we'll see if things start to resume at a more reasonable rate, because I think by the time it gets to April, we're not going to see too many more major cases, and then we'll start to see things even out. Whether or not there's going to be a vaccine before the end of the year, I wouldn't like to say, but I think we'll get through this. I know The Rock says his Black Adam movie is going ahead in the summer. Come hell or high water, it is going ahead as planned, and also The Rock has done as only he can in the ring, training like a beast. I think things will get back to as they're supposed to, because it's like the old World War II slogan said it best: keep calm and carry on, because not everything has to stop. Because, as I've said earlier, entertainment in times like this are just as important as being informed, because entertainment is here to take your mind off things. I probably shouldn't say this in the podcast, but it's like a certain adult website is doing for Italian subscribers by giving them free access for the next 30 days, and with each click off a video goes to actually send financial aid and medical aid to Italy to help them out. I will type in the private chat for people to hear, but I'm not going to say it aloud.
I won't say it aloud either, but I think I know what you're talking about. Yep. Because I've seen them. Because I remember they roasted Tumblr when the Not Safe for Work ban happened. And I find it kind of hilarious that an adult movie-related website has more humanitarian nature than any other humanitarian charity there right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. With that site, they do whatever it takes. I don't say they try hard, but they just you never know. I mean, this is the same site that sponsored and let's see if I remember a video game team.
That they did. And they do a lot of normal movie trailers on Once in a Blue Moon. Or some of their stuff is questionable. I'll at least give them that they seems to be there at a time of need for outside issues.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, I wasn't going to go mentioning... In fact, here's the article for you to look at verbatim.
I love that they use troll.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh god.
Steven's seen the article. Like I said, I love I love the troll face. It's like, problem?
Problem, Puritans?
Oh god. But keeping with the main topic, I'm not surprised. I'm hoping that they can get back to what they're doing soon. It'll probably be no more than, say, 3 weeks to a month at the very best. And one of the trending articles that's here as well is a parody movie's come along called Corona Zombies. Really?
Edge, much wow.
I mean, a lot of people should have saw it coming.
Yeah.
With the various Resident Evil memes that have been coming out since January,
Umbrella Corporation.
Especially since it doesn't help that Khan's pharmaceutical symbol looks too uncanny to the Umbrella Corporation logo.
Yeah. Dear.
And I'm here. Like I heard a story where some rich people have decided to have their own bunker. It's like, yeah, I've seen this movie. The zombies stormed it. Just saying.
Right. Let me just grab a soda a second because mouth's getting a little bit dry. Oh, I've got 2 cans for some bizarre reason. Better. Alright. It's a little bit better. Raiden, your thoughts on the fact that Jurassic World 3 is going to be shutting down production for a while, and how long realistically do you think they should halt it?
I feel like it will be a couple of weeks until it just dies down. I feel like it won't last, but it will be for a long while, so it doesn't surprise me, but it is what it is. I feel like it will go back to filming real soon.
Let's.
I mean, yeah, same here. It's
Where's that?
Sorry, hold on. There was someone interrupting me. Yeah, I think it'll like again. This whole thing with the virus is starting to affect a lot of things, and if they'll probably get pushed back a little, just There's a lot of shows right now, shows, movies, a lot of things that are getting pushed back because of the virus, but eventually they're going to get back to filming eventually, just not right now because of concerns, and I understand that. So again, it's like you said, just wait it out and then we'll see what happens.
When?
I'd like to think within the next couple of weeks, a month at least. Especially since that's when everything's gonna start going back up. Like, people will have to go back to school. Parks will be reopened, and any postponed events will continue. And maybe if we're lucky, some of the canceled events will be able to uncancel, and they'll be able to get everything put together and prepared for those seasons, because people can only be out of work for so long.
It's very true.
And a lot of the decisions, especially with the way everything was exaggerated, you don't want the economy to get hurt even more than it has been on and off.
No.
Because some people just can't keep their mouth shut.
No.
Not naming names, because we are not a political podcast.
No.
But it's not helping.
No.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I like to be optimistic. Think that at least some of the crazy will die down within the next couple of weeks or so. Maybe to the point where we don't have to limit how much TP people out there can buy and can't buy. My sister said that she was at Walmart the other day getting her nails done. And apparently there was a bit of a rumble going on over toilet paper and water bottles.
Yeah, we've had the same problem here. In fact, one of the local supermarkets in my area closed 3 hours early because fights were breaking out over toilet paper.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Well, also, to be fair, to quote Tommy Lee Jones, which this quote is still relevant to this day, a person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
Oh, yeah. Especially considering the fact of that whole coronavirus challenge I talked about earlier.
Yeah, fortunately that was debunked and called out by the likes of Philip DeFranco.
It's like, that's still stupid. What? Just why?
Because people will do anything for attention.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, let's just start thinning out the herd right now.
And also, because fuck you, that's why.
He said.
Alright.
At this point, it's just social Darwinism.
Basically.
Yeah.
Let's not
Pretty
encourage
much.
them. Okay. It's that time again.
Let's see if I can...
All right. My apologies.
Good?
Still coughing up a storm right now. I'm good.
Stevens just said, apparently a hate crime against a Chinese student happened locally in my area due to a viral outbreak. Ugh.
Oh, no. That's what pisses me off.
That's nasty.
Yeah, that's what pisses me off even more. And anyone who encourages that crap, you're an asshole. And just... Ugh.
Oh, God. And there are people saying, oh, I won't eat Chinese food. I'm like, dude, screw you. Chow mein.
Oh, please. I've been eating Chinese for a while now, so I'm good.
Exactly.
Well, mainly subs and fries, but you know.
Did someone say Southern fried?
No!
It's
No! Yeah! Go back to driving the truck!
It's like at that point, not only do I hope you step on a Lego for those who encourage this rampant racism, I hope you step on a D4 dice.
Ooh! Ooh, D4 hurt!
Better yet.
You're damn fucking right.
Better-
Assholes deserve to have the most painful foot stubs.
Better yet.
Hmm.
Step on a Christmas bauble.
Oh.
Alright.
I'm at 0.
Ditto.
I have my earbuds and I'm at 0.
Let me just see just check the audience a quick second. Okay, folks. You're about to be entertained even more. Go back, full screen, in 3, 2, 1, play.
Huh. Ooh!
Nice.
Bats! Get away!
To appreciate what Batman Begins represents, we have to acknowledge and understand the roads that led to this 2005 reboot. The journey began with the critically and financially successful 1989 movie that brought the character to the big screen in a way he had never been seen before. Gone was the campy tone of the 60s and met with a much darker and noirish direction that was more befitting of the spirit of the comics, with Michael Keaton as the titular character and Jack Nicholson providing laughs, intimidation, and full-on ham as the Joker. The sequel followed 3 years later with the appropriately titled Batman Returns, in a move that led to Tim Burton having too much control, in which it went full-on Tim Burton. The aspects of Penguin's origin and demise was too dark even for a Batman movie. And this movie shows Batman spending the least amount of time in this flick, third only to The Dark Knight Rises. With the advent of wanting to make the series more family-friendly after the sequel raised eyebrows with audiences and studio executives, Joel Schumacher was brought in to camp the series. Even though Joel had a vision of making Batman Forever akin to that of 1987's vampire flick, The Lost Boys, of which he directed. But the studio wasn't giving an inch, and with Michael Keaton also not wanting to reprise his role for the third, in came Val Kilmer of Top Gun fame as the new face of the Bat and his alter ego, Bruce Wayne. Although it was met with mixed criticism, the movie ended up being a financial success with ticket sales, merchandise, and cross-promotions with McDonald's.
I like Batman Forever, I will say that.
U2's
Same.
Hold Me, Thrill
It was
Me,
fun.
Kiss Me, Kill Me, and Seal's Kiss from a Rose. And then came the sequel.
I
that
was obsessed
effectively
with that damn
derailed
song.
the franchise with
Ah, not
Seven,
Batman and Robin, get
Robin.
away!
Whereas Forever
Oh,
felt more like
God.
a movie, Batman and Robin felt more like a commercial or just a full-blown parody that was the campy reflection of the Adam West years. All that was needed was the shark repellent spray and it would have been complete. And of course, if you have Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a villain, you know full ham is going to be available. It was also heavily criticised for acting performances from George Clooney as Batman, although he played a better Bruce Wayne that made the audience sympathise with the character. And Uma Thurman was just woeful as Pamela Isley's Poison Ivy. This would also be Michael Gough's final appearance as Alfred Pennyworth, who along with the late Pat Hingle's Commissioner Gordon were the only actors to have appeared in all 4 movies. A 5th entry was planned for the franchise that would have seen Chris O'Donnell's Robin ascend to Nightwing, and with Nicolas Cage playing the Scarecrow. And it was also rumoured that Madonna would have appeared as Harley Quinn, being the
Nicolas
Joker's
Cage?
daughter. Attempts and ideas were along with a Batman Superman movie that was teased in 2004, but it never came
Fuck
to
no.
actual
Fuck no!
Akiva Goldsman was tasked with writing the story and would have seen Bruce Wayne going through a mental breakdown after Alfred, Robin, and Commissioner Gordon were dead, and it would have seen Soup struggling after divorcing Lois Lane. When Insomnia director Christopher Nolan learned that Warner Bros. Was looking to renew or reinvent the franchise, he approached them with the idea of Batman being treated with a realistic fashion and using what he refers to as heightened reality as opposed to the over-the-top escapism that had been seen in comic book movies and various other action movies of that nature in the last 10 to 15 years. And the idea is that the movie uses ideas and concepts that could work if given the right time and development. Batman's cape using memory cloth, which the Department of Defense was working on at the time, that could take a rigid shape when an electrical current is sent into it. Aligned with writer and director David S. Goyer, Warner Brothers hired this dynamic duo to
Goyer.
bring new life to the character in a way that has never been seen before, and has since set the standard of adaptations of comic book movies and various other genres in incorporating gritty, realistic aesthetics.
I mean, say what you will about David S. Goyer, he gave us Blade, so...
Yeah.
He did.
We see this take on Gotham as being something much closer to reality that we see in most inner cities from New York and Chicago, which portions of the movie was shot in. Bats, gadgets, and Batmobile look and feel like tools that are crafted by the military or other forms
the
of
tumbler.
law enforcement.
Yeah,
After the
that's
success
my
of
personal
2000's
favorite.
X-Men and 2002 Spider-Man, eyes were focusing over to Warner Brothers to see what they could do to shift the balance back over to DC after having seen the first half of the 2000s dominated by Marvel. Well, on June 15, 2005, Warner Brothers and DC Comics gave an answer. And so, after 15 years, we head back to Gotham. The movie uses the themes of fear, deception, and theatricality when telling the tale of this version of The Dark Knight. Fear is a natural element in life and in fiction. The idea of taking the fear of which tormented you as a child and using it as a weapon to those who use fear to prey on the fearful is an intriguing concept as you become fear itself in order to bring order to a crime-ridden city. Deception. Well, that's self-explanatory. Being able to deceive and trick your enemies into believing you're something more. I'll highlight this more later. And theatricality. Well, how much more theatrical can you get when you dress as a 6-foot bat in a matte black suit and talk in a gravelly voice with more gadgets that would make James Bond jealous? It's interesting to see Batman's origin from both a linear and non-linear perspective. The movie begins by visiting Bruce's past as a child when he falls into a well, injuring himself before being greeted with a flurry of bats escaping a cave. Then it cuts to him as a jaded and disillusioned adult in a Bhutan prison where he's been away for 7 years, traveling the world, attempting to understand the criminal mind and picking up various combat training. When he meets Henry Ducard in prison, he is offered an invitation to train with the League of Shadows, where he's purged of his fear of bats. The movie has the iconic beats of his parents' murder from being gunned down in an alley, which is true to form from what we've seen of the origin of the character from various media, from comics to cartoons and the 1989 movie. This origin, however, takes things a step further. Bruce blames himself for his fear of bats after he protests to leave the opera, where he has a panic attack after seeing the dancers dressed up as bats, which then leads into the alleyway where Thomas and Martha Wayne are gunned down by Joe Chill. This was something that shocked non-hardcore comic book fans, as most had been led to believe that the 1989 telling of the origin where a young Joker killed his parents was the true origin. Nope, it was always Joe Chill. The 1989 movie made the change to the Joker so they would have a more emotional and traumatic connection that would allow Batman to confront his parents' murderer. Bruce still sees Joe Chill after the court hearing with the intent of murdering him himself, which Rachel Dawes, his childhood friend and his love interest, scolds him for such a cowardly intent. I thought it was a clever idea to have Bruce in a state of disillusion, thinking that revenge and justice are the same thing. As it's said in the flick,
why do we fall, sir? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up.
And I think that's true to life. We've all had instances where we've made mistakes or bad choices, and it's in those circumstances where we reevaluate what we've done so that we can move forward with positive resolutions. A turning point for Bruce is when he learns of the League of Shadows' true intentions for Gotham and that this is not what he signed up for, and he responds by bringing down the house. Literally and figuratively. From the point he returns to Gotham is where the pacing begins to become more fluid, and you see how he goes about assembling the tools and resources necessary to take on an elemental symbol that will help shake people out of apathy. In acquiring allies in Wayne Enterprises' Lucius Fox and Sergeant James Gordon of the Gotham PD, Bruce begins making his presence known as the vigilante of the fear of his childhood, Batman. The first reveal of the character is done in such a suspenseful fashion at the docks by having only glimpses from angles and noises akin to that of things that go bump in the night, that gave a heightened and almost supernatural feel to his arrival because it played on criminals' fear of not understanding what is going on around them. It's similar to that of aspects of the Jurassic Park franchise when you can hear what's going on, but you have no visual confirmation of what is causing the noise and disruption. Although, the idea of Batman in Jurassic Park I felt that Jonathan
Need some justice!
throwaway character once Descartes reveals himself to be actually Ra's al Ghul, playing on the themes of theatricality and deception. It's also interesting to see Bruce reject a parental mentor figure when he had been searching for one since the death of his father, and here he has that figure, but Bruce rejects him as his moral compass and ideals clash with Raz's vision of justice. Justice may be balanced, but Raz had a very warped view on it. As much of an asset as it was to build Bruce Wayne and Batman from the ground up, I feel like it was also a detriment because the movie spends a full hour in getting him to the first appearance of the character, and at that point you're left with an hour and 20 minutes left, as the movie's runtime was 140 minutes. I get that you have to lay the foundation of the story and be invested and care about Bruce, but I felt like they could have streamlined the story to where the first reveal had been, say, 35 to 40 minutes in, and that would have been less time-consuming. Despite that critique, I felt the ending was a satisfying payoff, taking Bruce from a victim to not only being a survivor, but being a symbol of hope for Gotham, and setting up the sequel with an all-too-familiar foe from Batman lore as he is handed a calling card. A lot of people have asked what this meant at the end.
I never said thank you.
And you'll never have to.
This is basically Bats' way of saying he's not doing this for the thrill nor praise. He just wants to restore justice and order in Gotham, and this movie got him off to a great start. Nolan set out to get the best possible actors for an epic casting treatment for Batman Begins, of which he sought Richard Donner's Superman as inspiration to get the best quality actors to fill out the primary roles, and then also to getting quality actors to fill out the supporting roles. This was a tall order, as you have to have an actor that can embody both aspects of the role. You think they're the same, but they're not. Batman is his more dominant personality, whilst Bruce is just a mask, a facade he puts on to lead people off the scent, playing into the theme of deception. I think if Bale had toned down the gravelly voice and did something along the lines of Michael Keaton by speaking in a lower register, then that at least would have been more subtle. But shouting with the gravelly voice led me to take him less seriously, as it was Robert De Niro who once said, "Powerful men do not shout." The scenes where he's talking with either Gordon or Dawes, it was okay. He spoke in a more tolerable, gravelly voice where I could take him more seriously. And then came the scene that spawned memes of infinity.
Where were the other drugs going?
I never knew. I don't know. I swear to God.
Swear to me!
Oh, good lord. This was a trend that would happen in each movie that would have Batman shouting excessively.
I'm not wearing all
Scenes look less credible. If he had said the line where he's delivering it in a quiet, sinister tone, then even I would have been on edge. Because someone's more terrifying if they're acting quietly, or you don't hear them coming at all. The only time he screws up as Bat is when he's using his normal voice when Rachel awakens in the cave. Now, you could make the argument that because she's slightly out of it, she wouldn't be able to put two and two together anyhow. But it's something that bothered me then, and very little has changed. It's not an easy task to be both an inspirational father figure and then to making a full-blown heel turn. Ducard also plays into the theme of deception when he reveals his true identity as Ra's al Ghul at Bruce's birthday party, which Wayne then realizes that he used cheap parlor tricks to conceal his true identity. Neeson was well remembered at this point for having played Qui-Gon Jinn in 1999 Star Wars Episode 1 as this bifuncular father-mentor figure to the then young Obi-Wan Kenobi and a very young Anakin Skywalker. He does play a good mentor to Bruce when he's seeking answers, but it's when he reveals his true hand is where you see the game change, and Neeson plays it so naturally, like he believes in what he's doing. and he shows the dedication in his performance even until the character's demise at the end when he meets his fate along with the microwave emitter. Michael's performance as the surrogate father figure to Bruce is much more confrontational than that of Michael Goff's. Goff's would still air his opinions in a sassy manner, but it was done in a much more dignified way of not raising his voice. Not so with Kane. He pulls no punches in Bruce's return from university and before his birthday party.
Those are Bruce Wayne's guests out there, sir. You have a name to maintain.
I don't care about my name.
It's not just your name, sir. It's your father's name. And it's all that's left of him. Don't destroy it.
It's interesting to see Ullman in such a wholesome role when you consider the roles he's played in Dracula, The Fifth Element, JFK, and The State of Grace. To play possibly one of the very few good cops in Gotham is intriguing, as you're essentially working within a corrupt system and you want the means to change said system, but you don't know how. This is highlighted in a car scene with Detective Flass.
In a town this big, who's there to write to anyway?
In meeting Batman, Gordon finds the unlikely ally that he had been waiting for that wants the same thing. Reform. Katie plays a key role in being a connection to Bruce's childhood and understanding the pain he went through in losing his parents.
I'm the minority of that. I actually like Katie Holmes in the role.
It was her scolding of him to make him understand that true justice is balance and he was a coward with a gun. I've mellowed to her performance over time.
I think she mostly got a lot because she was married to Tom Cruise, and there was a whole Scientology debate.
Katie.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy really sells the belief that Dr. Crane believes he's doing good work at Arkham with his experiments. But once Batman exposes him to his own toxin is where he's thrown to the sidelines, and the last we see of him is getting tasered by Rachel and he rides off into the mist. I don't think you could have gotten anyone better to play this role, as Freeman
That was
has
unfortunate
this
because
air
Scarecrow
of
was
distinguished experience as
very
Fox, to where he's been
good
around
in
the
the
block
movie.
and doesn't care
Yeah.
for nonsense and just tells it like it is.
Mr. Wayne.
And then he appears in The Dark Knight Rises as the judge. I'm like, okay, fine.
Don't think of me as an idiot.
He knows there's something going on with
Lucius.
There's this unspoken trust and understanding that Bruce is doing something impactful with the
Morgan
tools that
Freeman
he's
was
had
the
access to in
perfect
archives of
pick.
Wayne Enterprises.
Mhm.
One amusing moment is where he uses William Earl's line against him at the end after he had been fired before Bruce appointed him as CEO when he took ownership of the company.
Didn't you get the memo?
On a supplemental note, it was a real treat to see the late Shane Rimmer in this as the senior Wayne Tower officer, as it's said that he got this role through a chance meeting with Christopher Nolan and he recognized him from the original Thunderbirds, of which he is a fan of. I didn't pick up on this until years later, but it was so wonderful to see him in this. FAB, Shane. What I find refreshing is the very minimal use of visual effects in this movie, and you wouldn't think that they were visual effects by looking at them. For instance, Batman descending down the staircase into the lobby of Arkham Asylum. Yep. And the bats that storm Arkham Asylum, even though the way they're handled would lead you to believe otherwise. The look of the Batsuit to where it has more of a combat look to where it would have been deployed for military purposes makes sense when you consider what he was doing after hours. He would need a suit that would have been able to take a pounding and was functional as opposed to just having bells and whistles. Even the cape is functional with being able to take rigid shapes in gliding, which is logical since he's known in the comics and cartoons for being able to get to areas quickly and in theatrical style.
Well, you took my advice about theatricality a bit literally.
Most of the special effects are around the gadgets and the Batmobile. I know it's called the Tumbler, but to me and everyone else, it's the Batmobile. To have a car that has elements of a Hummer and Lamborghini fits perfectly in this tone of The Dark Knight, as you would need something that is built like a tank, but has the capacity to make quick getaways. And this Batmobile was made in England by a group of engineers that were able to make the car full size true to Nolan's image of it, and the car is able to do those stunts for real. Although, the jump did give me flashbacks of Knight Rider where it essentially turbo boosts into the cave. So, all in all, the effects? Oh yeah, they're perfect. It's Hans Zimmer, so you know what you're getting, but considering the impact that Danny Elfman had left on the music for Batman, it made you wonder what Hans would do going into this. And what I find that he does, he leaves a great impactful tone that really lends itself to the movie. I mentioned earlier how the first reveal of the character had elements that gave it a supernatural feel to where the suspense had a scare factor. The score helps elevate this sense as the music that Hans uses
spooky.
is terrifying and feels like it belongs in a horror movie. Especially when you hear the music and you see how dark the black tone is on the costume. That said, there are some tender moments. One of which that comes to mind is near the end when Bruce and Rachel are having a tender moment and the score really complements the romantic context between them. I have never seen a character make such a huge turnaround in fortune after his previous outing was such a disappointment. The movie grossed a profit of $371.8 million against a budget of $150 million. Two sequels followed in 2008 and 2012 with The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises that concluded the Dark Knight trilogy, giving a definitive conclusion to this incarnation of Batman, which ended up being very profitable with the trilogy grossing over $100 billion.
Yep.
Batman Begins heralds the advent of movies in the superhero genre and others, taking on a grittier and more realistic tone that followed into the likes of the James Bond reboot, with 2006's Casino Royale, 2008's The Incredible Hulk, 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man, and even 2017's Power Rangers saw Batman Begins as an inspiration of grounding their stories in reality. It set the standard of making comic book and other movie genres of escapism that allowed the audience to forget that they were watching comic book movies and something that felt closer to reality, with new levels of credibility and authenticity that got fans, filmmakers, and critics to take these movies seriously. The same level of authenticity that would be carried over into the 2013 reboot of Man of Steel that saw Superman's origin reimagined in a more realistic fashion, with Christopher Nolan acting as producer, while Zack Snyder directed and British actor Henry Cavill played the iconic role. The movie has been enjoyed on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and now 4K. And you know something else? It feels as fresh now as it first did in 2005. I'm MJ Knight, and we went back to the beginning for Batman Begins. The only time he screws up as Bat is when he's using his normal voice when Rachel awakens in the cave. Now, you could make the argument that because she's slightly out of it, she wouldn't be able to put two and two together anyhow. But it's something that bothered me then, and very little has changed. One more. Damn it! Master Wayne, is Master Knight still taking his time over this? Didn't realize you were gonna get on this, Alfred. You're only supposed to do two eyes. That is the worst Michael Caine impression ever. I can imagine Kaiju's about to do some interesting commentary in a Michael Caine impression. Oh, good lord, that's even worse. The movie has been enjoyed on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and now 4K. And to be honest, it feels as fresh now as it did in 2005. I'm MJ Knight, and we went back to the beginning for Batman Begins. I'm gonna do one more because I know I can do it better. Why are you doing multiple takes? Because I want to look good. Motion withdrawn. Master Wayne, is he still at it? Yes. Well, at least he's not taking as long as you did to first show up in character. I had to build up the suspense. You were taking too long. Oh god. I know Wynn's gonna be enjoying this. Oh Sid, Betsy, why is this night taking so too long? Although imagine Mark Hamill voicing Batman and Kevin Conroy voicing Joker. Actually, no. Do not put ideas into Wynn's head. It says, oh, too late. Typing. Wyn cosplaying as the Joker. No, Wyn. No.
Too late.
You do not need ideas like that.
Oh no! What have you done?
So many levels of wrong with that.
I'm scared now.
Yay!
Alright, time to see the comment section. Trekkie goes, good review. Applauds for the outtakes, nice. He goes, well done. I mean, I don't agree with some things in there, but it was a great review. Thank you very much. Oh, look at some of this from... Oh, no. Steve goes, Bat Raptor. Oh, no. I wasn't intending for it to go past the 20-minute mark, but... And to be fair, if I'd left all the bloopers in there, the bloopers would have ended up being about 5 minutes long, and I'm like, oh, I need to condense this a little bit. And there was one outtake in there where I would have had a jab at Batman and Robin and just turn to one side and go, you know what you did.
Shame on you.
But I thought, it's too easy, and I've done that so many times, so... Yeah. And also, I purposely left some of the bits in there where I'm going full ham and then putting ideas into Wynn's head. I'm like, yeah, she's going to enjoy that. Now I just have this image now of Wynn showing up on Discord video going, oh, I say there, dear Lydia, are we going to go D&D and D'ing now? And you'd be like, no, none of that.
Shame on you.
Oh, God. And originally for Nights Begin, it was just going to be the beachfront B-roll footage that I use whenever I'm doing the Q&A videos, but I thought, nah. The one where I've got the bats flying away from the city, that's going to give it more of a dramatic edge to it. Alright, I've heard what the audience had to say. What does the crew think?
I liked it. It was good.
Raiden?
Really dope. I liked how you went with the history of Batman film wise and how Begins came to be. So yeah, really good on your part.
I'm guessing Win is mute because Navi's being Navi. I've got no response at the moment. I could only presume Navi's being fed and whatnot. In which case, he's probably pulling a Butters and just going, meow, meow, meow. Seriously, I don't know which cat is more demanding.
I returned. I needed the ladies' room, and I decided to feed Navi while I was...
I was partially right.
Yeah, he was meowing at the door when I was washing my hands.
Food.
Like, Mom, feed me!
Food.
Mother, feed me.
Navi, I need to tend to myself. Food. Food.
It's like, come on, it's bad enough my D&D friends think you're an eldritch horror. Seriously, Hearts was on a good one the other day saying that Navi was a eldritch horror.
Oh my god.
Alright, Win. Let's have it.
It was a really well done review. You got everything down to E. I can't really disagree with any of your statements. Batman Begins was definitely one of the stronger of the trilogy. Don't get me wrong. I liked the other movies too, but Batman Begins was strongest.
Yeah. And I figured you'd appreciate the ham segments in the blooper reel. There was one where I was, and Liz is gonna hate me for this.
No.
Imagine Oni doing the Batman voice.
No! No!
When I was doing the cut of the bloopers, the blooper reel originally would have been something like 5 minutes long. I was like, this is too long. Some bits need to get cut. So the two pieces where it's Bats and Alfred interplaying, I thought that's easier to work with, and of course I knew Win would appreciate, like, actually, like, now imagine Win cosplay is just like, no, none of that, no, do not put ideas, and it's just like, already there.
Too late.
This is happening.
And I figured Liz would appreciate the joke of, you went full Tim Burton. Never go full Tim Burton.
No. No.
Yeah, I figured it'd be good to sort of take what Robert Downey Jr. was doing from Tropic Thunder, but take a certain word out of that. I mean, I agree with the context of what his character said, but you can't really go around saying that these days. It's kind of like, no, you can't say that now. So it's easy to just say, don't go full Tim Burton.
Full Tim Burton.
Yeah, that's fair. Especially since I don't think whoever wrote Downey Jr.'s script would realize that 5 years from then, people would start losing their collective poo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. He, as a person, will not say that. That's just the character in the movie within a movie was reading from a script.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's just the thing. Some people need to understand. Pardon me. There's reality, and there's a fictional script. The two do not interplay with each other, unless it's like, you're doing a biopic. That's that's a little bit different. If you're doing a biopic of somebody, yeah, some bits and pieces have to be referenced. But something that's pure fiction is just like, it's a movie. Get over yourself. And the intro actually, I think, went through just 2 iterations. One was just where the reveal was just, was just a very simple text reveal, which I thought, this looks a little bit lazy, so I tried to find a way of having the bat symbol show up. Now originally I was going to have it zoom in, but the problem was there would be a red border showing up around in the animation of it. I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. So I figured, why not just have it appear like a portal, for lack of a better description. And I figured that one works easier. As I was saying to Lids and Raiden, when originally I was going to go with the New York traffic animation loop that I used for the Q&As, but I saw the city with bats flying from it. I'm like, no, this is going to work better for the Nights Begin parody trailer, and also the score I used for that, it didn't suit the New York footage. I figured have something a bit more dramatic like that with that music there. It's perfect. That, I figured Lids appreciated being given the Catwoman title.
Meow. Like explosions.
I kept thinking of what to label Kaiju with, and I just figured the Dark Knight keeps it simple. Only reason I handed Nightwing to Raiden, I figured, why not? Because I don't think he would have appreciated being given Robin. Be like, hey, hold up a minute. And Win as Batgirl, well, that was a no-brainer. Because, to my understanding, Win's a fan of Batgirl, and because, well, it's a redhead playing a redhead. Although my personal favourite incarnation of Batgirl is the one from the Batman. Danielle Judovitz. So much snark. Kind of like someone I know. Who would be Alfred? That's a very good question, Steve. I don't know. Probably random.
He does have the snark and the words of wisdom. Because as I said before, amongst all that cynicism, always tends to be words of wisdom, and whenever Raiden, Steve, and I are talking amongst ourselves, he always has really good and really articulate input.
Yeah. He is very blunt with it, but sometimes that's what you need. Trekkie's asking, who would we be? Whoever you wanted to be, Trekkie. He just goes, some people just want to watch the world burn. Somebody's going to probably ask, who would Oni be? I'm going to have to choose my words carefully, because you have to think of what character does he best line up with. Who would Oni line up with in Batman lore?
Bane?
Now, for context, are we talking classic Bane or philosophical Latin quoting Bane from The Dark Knight Rises?
Classic Bane.
I always thought of Oni more as...
Or he's a very angry Jim Gordon.
Yeah, that too. I always kind of thought of him as Mr. Freeze. And for context, I'm talking Batman, the animated series version, the one where it's like, you know he's a villain, but at the same time, you feel for him. Or he could always be the Scarecrow, because sometimes Oni will just go to places and you're like, don't do that.
Oh no, that's Owlman.
Yeah, okay, Oni could be the Joker. Oh wait, no.
Oh no.
Tell me, Lydia, do you know how I got these scars? I'll know how you'll guilt this one in a minute. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I haven't got to meet her yet. Ashley would probably be an awesome Poison Ivy.
Yeah, she does have the... And choosing my words carefully, she does have the very sultry and sophisticated look to her. I will say, though, husband, you're a lucky man. I think I can say that without getting in trouble. Steven's asking, who would I be? Why not the Riddler?
Well, which version of the Riddler?
Animated series.
That's a good choice.
I love Jim Carrey, but I felt like there were probably a couple of times where they said to him on the set, okay, Jim, you can get out of character for a minute. Because I feel like he gets too much into character, because apparently he got into this habit whilst he was filming The Grinch. He gave his castmates inappropriate gifts. I don't know the whole skinny of it, but he said during an interview whilst he was promoting the Sonic movie, it took him a while to get out of that mindset. I'm like, oh. It's kind of like what Jared Leto did as the Joker in Suicide Squad, because apparently some gifts he would hand out to some of his castmates would include, and I'm not making this up, used contraceptives.
Charming.
Yes.
Yeah, he definitely got way too into character. And the crazy part is he wasn't even in half of the film.
Yeah, because apparently there was enough deleted footage to make an entire Joker movie. But apparently he was complaining about Joaquin Phoenix being the Joker, apparently that everyone was, preferred his Joker. It's like, well, maybe it's because his was actually good.
And actually seemed more Jokery rather than Hot Topic edition. Don't get me wrong, I love my product topic, but he does look like the poster boy for selling some particular jewelry there.
Raiden, what was the nickname you branded Joker from Suicide Squad as?
I don't know. It's been a minute since I watched that movie.
It was like it sounded like a Japanese reference.
was it? Yakuza Joker?
Something along those lines. What was it? Tekashi 6ix9ine?
Yep, that was it. Yeah, that was it.
Damn. I was originally going to put Arnold Schwarzenegger, a clip from Batman and Robin with Arnold Schwarzenegger going, just chill, but I thought, just put the GIF in. It's quick, it's over, it's done with, and it's gone. But it's actually surprising with Batman Returns. He does spend so little time in the cape and cowl, and with in the course of the Dark Knight Rises, he spends even less time in the suit. Because that movie's nearly 3 hours long, and he's only in the suit for probably about a total of 40 minutes. That's not a lot of Batman. Just amazed that trilogy took in as much money as it did, because I mean, well, the MCU's probably taken in way more money since then, but that was how many movies over a period of 11 years? Whereas Bats did it in 3 movies over a period of 7 years. But then again, to be fair to Christopher Nolan, he knew what he was doing. The only thing I would change about that trilogy is take out the shouting. That is the only thing I would change about Bale's take on the character. And even he said in interviews he thinks he failed with that performance. Because like I said, as Bruce Wayne, he's fine. But as Bats, it's just... if he had spoken in a lower register, it would have been fine. That's why a lot of people still gravitate to Michael Keaton. But Robert Pattinson could be the one to break the chain.
I sincerely hope so. I want to be proven wrong with Robert Pattinson's performance. I really do.
Well, as it's been highlighted, he hated working on the Twilight movies, but he saw it as a paycheck.
Man, I don't blame him.
And from what I hear, the Lighthouse was an experience.
It was, trust me, I watched that one time and oh yeah. I had to watch that once and that's like you question question yourself, like, was that really worth it? It kind of was, but still.
The thing I do like from what I've seen from clips, it actually looks like something that was made in the 30s and 40s with the filming style and the fact it was using the 4x3 frame format. But we'll see how he does as Bats. I'm not 100% sure about the car he's driving, though. That one does look a bit... It's different.
It doesn't look too bad. The back definitely reminds me of a Lamborghini, and the front looks like something out of a Dodge Charger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of, definitely would probably be first earlier design for Batmobile, because kind of reminded me a bit of Batman Year One.
Personally, for
me,
me,
if that's the approach they're going with, hey, cool.
Personally, for me, the best Batmobile is always going to be the Burton-mobile. That to me, that's the Batmobile.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, that was the inspiration for the Batmobile that they had for Batman v Superman. Just with a little bit more emphasis on armor, whereas the 89 Batmobile was, well, there's a lot of bat in it, but it was clearly built more for speed, whereas the the 2016 variation was clearly that sort of thing of, you knocked that guy's beer over, run. That is something that I do like about Batman Begins. You know, even though it's been well over 10 years, I can go back into that movie anytime, and it never ages. I think also because, one, it was apolitical, and two, it didn't try to be topical. It just tried to tell a story and just did it, differently.
Yeah, I kind of also feel the same, that it got that same feeling in The Dark Knight, where it's like you don't know what time period it takes place in, but you don't need to know.
I think the only things that I would have changed about The Dark Knight, one, I wouldn't have had the Batmobile blow up. That's just me, because I love cars. And two, the only thing I would have changed about Ledger's performance is get him to tell a few more jokes, because I felt like the only thing that let him down with his performance, he wasn't telling enough jokes. Because you hear him go with the line, and I thought my jokes were bad. And yet that seems like the only one, It's almost like, in a way, they had that theme in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy where he only seemed to tell one joke per movie. That's the only thing I felt that let that series down, but The Dark Knight Rises, the only thing I would have changed, I would have shaved 20 minutes off that runtime. Good lord. Because even when Random was watching it, see you, Trekkie. Because even when Random was watching it Christmas Eve in 2012, he's like, is this thing still going? Because near 3 hours is a long ass time to keep your ass parked there. Thankfully, when Batman v Superman was in the theaters, it was actually a lot shorter. It was the home edition that was 3 hours long, and at one stage I was actually falling asleep like it was the Royal Rumble 2017 all over again. And Raiden's seen footage of that. It's like, oh good lord, he's gone to sleep.
Actually, yeah, I remember that.
If you recall, you were actually in the Skype call, where I was actually on camera, like, oh, MJ's gone to sleep.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't blame you for knocking out, because that whole match itself was like, it just went on and on and on. They already got through they already went through the special entrance already, so that is just, it was just a slog to get through.
I think what woke me up is hearing Orton's music going off, signaling he won the match, and Oni's like, wait a minute, Cena's champion, Orton's the Rumble winner. No, I'm getting horrible flashbacks. And I wake up, I'm like, oh fuck.
That was a special time for all of us. Rock was pissed, Oni was pissed, I was pissed, half of everyone was pissed.
That'd be like waking up after the women's Rumble match, you realise Brie Bella had, Nikki Bella's won the Rumble, but Brie Bella's the women's champion. You think, wait, she's the winner and she's the champion. Oh my gosh, no!
I'm building a spaceship to get away from that, man. I swear.
Although, one positive thing I can say about WWE, the Bulldog is finally going into the Hall of Fame.
Thank God. How long did that take?
Too fucking long.
And the cool thing is, his son will induct him, so there you go.
Yep.
He's been killing it in the league and outside the league. Just been honing his craft. Just seeing him, it's like no disrespect, it's like a more improved version of British Bulldog himself.
Yeah. Well, they do say sometimes you learn more just by observing, and you know, he did learn a lot from his dad, and he learned a lot from his family members as well. Felt like he got a bit shafted with his run in WWE, but it is what it is. He got at least one tag team title reign, especially with those awful ass penny belts. Ugh.
Yeah.
And from what I've been hearing, word on the wire is that the US title is supposed to get a makeover, and I'm like, considering how lackluster the Intercontinental titles redesign was, I don't have any hope for the US belt. And I just heard my jaw ligaments click into place. Nice. Alright. Wonder what other movies I've got listed for the rest of the season. Excuse me. Now, I do have Batman and Robin to deal with at some stage. Good lord.
Oh no.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. That's all I gotta say.
I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off and have done with it. Because at least with that one, once it's done, I never have to go back to it again. Because, let's be frank, why would you want to go back and review a terrible movie twice? Now, some could make that argument with the 17th anniversary of the Hulk. Here's the thing. The Hulk versus Hulk review was comparing two movies, so you're not really spending an entire video on one of them. You're spending an entire video on both of them, so you're having to be selective with what you're trying to do. Whereas with that one, I got into the nitty gritty of it, and it's just like, okay, we're done. And the only reason I'm going to go after Batman and Robin is just like, let's just get this over with. Although I'm thinking about swapping out Iron Man 2 for a review. I might do Roger Rabbit instead.
Nice.
But if I'm going to do that one, I need to get on work on that one soon, because ticket number 6 is due for March 30. So that's a bit of a way. Might not seem like a way away, but it will catch up. And let's just say, for what I've got listed for May 25, well, it'll be the ending of one movie series, and in a weird way, it'll be full circle to what started a year ago. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to give away anything more than that. And I've still got to work on that Transformers review with Kaiju.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. I'm also going to be bringing an inside gag that's sold between me and my brother whenever Prime shows up in any of the movies. Again, won't say anything more than that because, well, till later. And at some stage, Jurassic World, because that one turns 5 this June.
That's crazy.
Well, as good as it is, it's not as good as the first Jurassic Park. But then again, it's very rare when any sequel is better than the original, and the only exception I can think of where that is the case is Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3, however, allow me to quote Win, fuck that movie. Fuck that movie. Fuck that movie. And insert any other weird adjective Win would probably put in. I'm guessing Liz has got something going on in her room, so that's why she's on mute.
Yeah, sorry, give me a sec, guys.
Oh, that's okay. I think unless we've got anything else to go over, I think we'll call that an evening.
Yeah. Sounds good. Liz and I should probably get to our D&D voice.
Alrighty.
And I got a pizza in the oven I need to check quick.
Nice.
Well, on that note, until episode 102, I have been the Knight.
I've been the awesome one.
I have been cybernetic but energetic.
The snarky cat lady.
All right. Have a
And
good night.
Good night.
And
I'm
I've
sorry.
been cybernetic but energetic Zen Master.
And Steven just says, pizza time, Win. Thanks for joining us, folks. See you next time. Good night.
Night. Night.